Hi, and here we are, back for our second video lesson. Have you ever heard a question? Have you ever? Well, that's what this video lesson is all about. But before we go there, let's take a look at the answers for the homework challenge I left for you in our last video lesson. You have to work out how to express all the information contained in each set with only one sentence using present perfect. And here are the answers. I live in a beautiful town. In fact, I was born here. I never lived anywhere else. In one sentence, I have lived here all my life. Today is my parents' anniversary. They got married 30 years ago. In one sentence, my parents have been married for 30 years. And now, back to the subject of today's lesson. As I mentioned earlier, in this video lesson, we're going to investigate how we use present perfect with the adverb ever in questions like, have you ever done that? Have you ever been there? Have you ever seen this? And in this lesson, we're going to cover structure, meaning, but more importantly, the time scope of such questions. So, come with me and let's dig a little deeper into the uses of present perfect. Now, let's see some examples of questions with present perfect and the adverb ever. Have you ever had a pet? Have you ever lived abroad? Have you ever been to that new bar in Market Square? Now let's take a look at the structure. As you can see, the adverb ever always comes before the past participle form of the main verb. And that's all there is to the structure of these questions. And now let's take a look at meaning. If we Google the adverb ever, or if we look it up in any good dictionary, we're going to find that, among other things, it means at any time or at any point. And that's the definition we're interested in. Now let's see how we use this information when we analyze the time scope of each question. And here's the first one. What is the time scope of this question? Have you ever had a pet? Let's go over the timeline. This point represents the present. This one here represents the time when you were born. You were born at this point. So the time scope of this question is your life. Okay, but what does that mean? Do you remember that ever means at any point? So it means the same as asking the following questions. Did you have a pet at this point in your life when you were 5 years old? Did you have a pet at this point in your life? Did you have a pet at this point in your life? Did you have a pet at this point in your life? And we could go on and on. However, thanks to present perfect and the adverb ever, we don't have to do that. We can ask the same thing with the question, have you ever had a pet? And for the second question, we have exactly the same scenario. The time scope is also one's life. The reason for that is because a person could live abroad at any point in their lifetime, from the time they were born up to the present time. And then, once again, if we didn't have present perfect, we would have to ask these questions again and again. Did you live abroad at this point in your life? But thanks to present perfect, we can say that with one question. Have you ever lived abroad? And now let's investigate the time scope of the last question. Have you ever been to that new bar in Market Square? In this example, many people might be tempted to think that the scope of time is also their lifetime, but it's not. This point here still represents the present moment, whereas this one actually represents the point in time at which they opened the bar, which means that the time scope this time is actually the bar's lifetime. And that's the only difference between the first two questions and this one, time scope. So guys, how's it going? Are you enjoying the lesson? Isn't it nice to understand this distinction between the time scope of one question and the time scope of another question? Well, I personally like that. So if you like this video, if you like our lessons, our video lessons, Please, don't forget to like us. Yes, give us your thumbs up. We certainly appreciate that. Now let's move on with the lesson. And here's another real-life situation with present perfect.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Have you ever had any weird, romantic dreams?
What's the time scope of that question? This is your homework for this video lesson. What I would like you to do is this. I would like you to write in the comment section of this video what you think is the time scope of that question. And I'll give you a hint. I personally don't think it's her lifetime. I think it's something else. I'll start our next video with my answer to this question. So that's about it for this lesson. And once again, I hope you've learned something. I hope you've enjoyed our video. Please subscribe to our channel. Thanks again. See you in our next video lesson.